the 2020 Democratic primary is going to get really, really ugly. It will either be equal to or worse than the 2016 Democratic primary in terms of really hacky attacks launched by the establishment wing of the Democratic Party against the left. I want to walk you through some of what I know their strategies are going to be so that you know in advance and you're prepared for the absolute heaping pile of horse shit that we're all about to witness. So, first of all here, this tweet from David Sirota is awesome. He says, 2016 establishment Dem talking point. Bernie Sanders should go away because his ideas are too unrealistic for Democrats to ever champion. They all said that. It was unicorn, fairy dust, pie in the sky. Hillary said Medicare for all will, quote, never come to pass. So the idea was, he's too naive and idealistic. In 2018 establishment Dem talking point. Bernie Sanders should go away because his ideas are now popular and mainstream Dem party orthodoxy. I've already seen those articles. In fact, I mentioned it the other day. There was a New York Times article that we talked about the other day. In that article, that's exactly what they say. They go, oh, Bernie Sanders, he mainstreamed all these ideas that are so important and so popular. But why would you want to vote for Bernie Sanders when you could vote for a younger person who's pushing for the exact same canon of policy ideas? So wait a second, that's contradictory. You guys told us for the longest time that Bernie's ideas are pie in the sky and they're silly and they're unrealistic. And now immediately, with no transition whatsoever, you flip to, well, I mean, these policies are obvious and that's why you need to vote for somebody other than Bernie, because why wouldn't you want to have somebody younger than Bernie implement those exact same policies? So just understand that this is gaslighting you because, I mean, it should be self-explanatory, but you know they're just going to use Bernie's ideas and arguments to try to make you think they believe it, and then they'll get into power and do the same kind of corporatist, centrist, neoliberal garbage that got us to this place in the first place and gave us Donald Trump. So that's the first thing. And that's just a little appetizer. Let's keep going. Andrew Perez says, ladies and gentlemen, we have the first 2020 narrative. Inside Bernie's war on Beto O'Rourke, as the Texas congressman's star rises, Sanders supporters turn up the heat. Quote, reading Karl Marx is cool. Doing a live stream while you're doing your laundry is a gimmick. So they're saying that Bernie Sanders people are launching an attack on Beto O'Rourke. I think that all started with, they say, is because David Sirota wrote an article in Capital and Maine and The Guardian that literally just lays out Beto O'Rourke's voting record. They consider that an attack. Well, hold on. It's only an attack if you think his record is so bad that merely reciting it feels like it takes him down a peg or two. And actually, you know what? That's kind of true. When you just objectively look at his record, you go, oh, he's very, very centrist. He's a new Democrat. He's not in the Progressive Caucus. He's repeatedly gone against the Democrats on a variety of important issues that we've spoken about on this show. He supported Wall Street deregulation. He supported fast tracking of TPP, among many other things. By the way, he supported this Republican bill that gets rid of your internet privacy rights. That bill had an approval rating of, I'm not kidding, 6%. He was one of very few Democrats who supported that. But so that's just citing the facts of his record. And they're saying that, oh my God, Bernie World is launching an attack on Beto because they are accurately assessing his record. That's called normal Democratic primary stuff where we try to figure out who we support. Here's the narrative. He continues. For Bernie Sanders, holding on to support may be hard in 2020. That's the article we covered the other day where they didn't cite any evidence, and what they say is, well, the establishment doesn't like him, so yeah. So he's probably in bad shape. Well, no, he's been gaining support among the people, and all the polls show that. But they frame it as, well, the establishment is really the only thing that matters, and they still don't like Bernie. Next one. Why the Bernie movement must crush Beto O'Rourke. And then finally, 6 reasons Bernie Sanders has lost his 2016 mojo. See, here's why I love this headline. Because if Bernie Sanders doesn't have mojo right now, literally no politician in America has mojo. Because Bernie Sanders, every poll shows him as the most popular politician in the country. He has the highest favorability ratings in the country by a mile. So for you to say, oh, Bernie Sanders lost his mojo, if that's the case, well then Kamala Harris or Cory Booker or Kirsten Gillibrand or, Beto O'Rourke or whoever, or Joe Biden, they have negative mojo. They have less than no mojo because they are less popular than Bernie Sanders. Okay. So they're already launching the attacks. Basically, the idea is anybody but Bernie, anybody but Bernie, anybody but Bernie. Now let's get more specific. Here's one of the things that they're going to do. Robbie Mook ran Hillary Clinton's campaign, so he's quite possibly one of the biggest failures in American politics. One of the worst Democratic strategists of all time. That's not an exaggeration. It is objectively true. He couldn't beat Donald Trump. He couldn't beat Donald Trump, who was caught a few weeks before the election saying, grab him by the pussy, I don't even wait. He had a scandal every other minute. The media shit on him 24/7, and he ran Hillary Clinton's campaign, and Hillary Clinton lost. He should be hiding in a cave somewhere, embarrassed to show his face. But look at what he said. Beware. Russian operatives will try to divide Democrats again in the 2020 primary, making activists unwitting accomplices. Unwitting accomplices. 2020 resolution. Think before you like or share. It might be foreign propaganda, not news. So I just want you to understand exactly what Robbie Mook is really saying, what the subtext is here. What he's saying is, whenever the Bernie Sanders supporters accurately go after establishment Democratic candidates, any argument against establishment Democratic candidates that sticks, I'm going to call that Russian propaganda. Now, you could say, well, Kyle, you're going too far, you're reading too much into it. But no, I'm not doing that. Because this is exactly what happened in 2016, too. When we learned about all the fuckery the DNC was doing, where they were, handing over the primary to Hillary Clinton. I mean, we learned about how Donna Brazile gave the questions to a debate to Hillary before the debate even happened. We learned about so many ways in which they rigged the system. I mean, the DNC was just an arm of the Clinton campaign. This is one of the things we learned from WikiLeaks. And we saw some of Hillary Clinton's speeches behind closed doors where she says, I think that we live in a country where there's intolerable bigotry against the rich, and we shouldn't live in that country. We should have totally free and open trade borders, which is like NAFTA on steroids. So all of these things that they released were true, were factual. But just the fact that you brought up these criticisms, they said, oh my God, you're an accomplice of Russia, because Russia attacked our democracy, so by you stating accurate things against Hillary Clinton, you're now an unwitting agent of Russian propaganda. And this is exactly what he's saying here. Oh, the Russian operatives will divide Democrats. And what he means is the left is going to accurately go after establishment Democrats by pointing out their record and pointing out all these things they did wrong. And if you are willing to agree with that or parrot that, you're on the side of Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin. So this is like McCarthyism 101. This is absolute hack garbage. But this is what their plan is moving into 2020. Now, why? Because they have nothing else, guys. They have nothing else against Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is for Medicare for all. He's for free college. He's for a living wage. He's for ending the wars. He's for a New Deal. He's for legalizing marijuana and ending the drug war. He's for taxing Wall Street. The list goes on and on of all the overwhelmingly popular policy beliefs Bernie Sanders has. So they know they can't beat him on the substance. So what are they going to do? Just accuse you of being a Russian propagandist because you have criticisms of establishment Democrats in the race. Okay, so they're going to play the Russia card immediately against the left. Next, this is David Pakman tweeted this a while ago on December 20th. 2 days ago, Amy Siskind posted that she won't vote for a white or male candidate in 2020. I pointed out this is racist and sexist. Yesterday she blocked me on Twitter. Today she called Boston College demanding they not have me back as adjunct faculty. Are you fucking kidding me? So I just need you to know, even though it will come across as incredibly insincere and garbage, there will be a faction of the establishment-aligned left, the establishment Democrats, who will basically say, if you support a white candidate or a male candidate, or definitely a white male candidate, well, that's racist by definition. That is going to be an argument that's made. How do I know? Look at this tweet from David. She wrote an article saying, listen, I'm not going to, or she tweeted or whatever it was, and she said, I'm not going to vote for a white or male candidate. So literally all white people and all white males, they're immediately discounted. They're immediately less than. It doesn't matter what the individual says. It doesn't matter what the individual is fighting for. It doesn't matter that individual's history. And listen, this is the preemptive strike. I told you they were going to cynically use identity politics against the left. This is the exact same thing as the Bernie bro argument. You're just a racist, sexist Bernie bro. You know, Bernie Sanders literally marched in the civil rights movement, but somehow you're a racist if you support him. You know, they did it with Obama too. Hillary Clinton in 2008, they came up with the Obama boy smear. They literally called it Obama boys. They literally called you an Obama boy if you supported Hillary, if you supported Obama over Hillary and you actually argued for your position. Because no matter what you said, they would strawman you and smear you as, well, the only reason you really are against Hillary is because she's a woman. So now they cannot wait to play that card. Let's say it's Kirsten Gillibrand. They'll say, you're sexist because you support Bernie over Kirsten Gillibrand. Doesn't matter how much you bring up policy substance and the specifics where you disagree with Kirsten Gillibrand, you're sexist because because you don't support Kirsten Gillibrand. If it's Kamala Harris, they'll play the race card and the sex card. They'll say, oh, you don't like her because she's a black woman. So I'm just letting you know in advance that this is what's going to happen because we're already seeing the beginnings of it. She literally said, I will not support a white or male candidate. And you're supposed to go, because of historical oppression, therefore, every white male candidate is eliminated, period, up front. That is sheer lunacy on top of being openly bigoted. And then she tried to get David fired on top of it. Now, the other one is, look at this. I love this one. David Packman says, a Facebook friend shared this, and I was sure it had to be satire, but this is really the anti-Bernie stuff that's spreading now. Look at this. This is hilarious. If Bernie Sanders was a true progressive, he would not have intruded into Hillary's path toward making progress as America's first woman president. He would not have divided the Democratic Party, and he would not have helped give us Trump for president. I mean, that is, again, the same card. Oh my God. He dared to actually run in a democracy, and his opponent was a woman. He's so sexist. And oh my God, he split the party by actually standing up for the positions that the Democrats are supposed to believe in and that the overwhelming majority of the American people believe in. How dare he? And then finally, this is the other thing that we're going to have to deal with. David Schroeder says, we at Capitol and Maine and The Guardian were slammed for publishing a deep dive into the legislative record of Beto O'Rourke. That's being courageously followed up by a Washington Post story touting Beto's height, because apparently nothing matters. So they literally did this. Analysis, Beto's towering advantage in the 2020 Democratic primary. They literally wrote an article about how, well, Beto's really tall, and historically tall people do well in presidential races, so let's write an entire article about how it's great that he's tall. So this is what we have to look forward to. We have immediate contradictions. The 2016 establishment talking point contradicts the 2018 establishment talking point. Oh, Bernie's ideas are pie in the sky. That's why you can't vote for him. Oh, Bernie's ideas are obvious, which is why you shouldn't vote for Bernie. You should vote for somebody else who's parroting those same ideas. So you're going to have contradictory narratives. You're going to have coordinated attacks, where as they launch a coordinated attack against Bernie Sanders, they will claim that you are launching a coordinated attack against them when you're just talking about the policy record. So you have to deal with projection on their part and coordinated attacks. You have to deal with being called a Russian propagandist simply for pointing out where your disagreements are with the other candidates in a primary, which is the fucking point of the primary. And you're also going to have to deal with the cynical weaponization of identity politics, where they'll call you racist and sexist if you have policy disagreements with establishment candidates who happen to be female or happen to be of a different race. And and we're going to have to deal with the most ridiculous fluff pieces of all time of all the establishment Democrats. So this is what we have to look forward to in 2020. It is going to get super ugly. And I'm telling everybody up front, I'm telling you right now, don't back down, stick to the policy substance, and argue for what will fix this country. Because people will be able to see through the bullshit, and they'll know that you're a serious person talking about serious issues, and unfortunately the majority conversation happening in the establishment is just absolute nonsense and drivel.